Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Round 8 of the Midwest F1 season. Season 8, as a matter of fact. Tonight, our Division 1 contenders look to take on the Jeddah Corniche circuit here in Saudi Arabia. It's a track that's been designed to create mistakes, and it'll do just that all night long. 27 corners make up the 6.1-kilometer circuit that's been branded the world's fastest street circuit, a title that's no overstatement whatsoever, as about 80% of the lap is taken at full throttle. It'll be a cloudy one here tonight, but an exciting one nonetheless. Hotspot with you on the call for this Division 1 clash. And so here's your starting lineup for your starting grid for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It's GSR Edwin on pole by almost half a second over Dace in second. GSR Edgar third, and Possible Bacon with one of Red Bull's better qualifying efforts of the season in P4. Lancey in the Haas fifth. Race Day 2016 in sixth. And Scornsey in P7. Very unusual sight to see them outside the top five. Hoxid eighth, ninth is Say, 10th GSR Ryan Rods, even more so unfamiliar territory for him. It's Mitch Burns in 11th, 12th Shelley the Turtle, 13th Smith Pell, 14th Jariah Coleslaw, 15th Aero Racing Design, 16th Cake Thomas, 17th Dusty Lusky, 18th Scavney, 19th making his return to Division 1 is Scuba Steve, and rounding out the field P20 is Fireballer in the Alfa Romeo. Very interesting qualifying session, a lot of new faces towards the top. This is going to be one hell of a Grand Prix. 20 seconds until our formation lap here. Would like to remind you one more time, Midwest F1 brought to you by Raze Energy, Sim Racer Coin, and Epos Audio. It's been a hugely interesting qualifying session here. A lot of new faces up towards the head of the grid here, and some championship contenders quite in the middle of it, to say the least. This should be an interesting one for sure. As we begin the formation lap, let's look at our driver standings at this moment coming into today. We've got Scornsey atop 663, Race Day 2016 behind 639, Ryan Rods 572 in third, Hoxid fourth at 546, Lancey just 2 points behind at 544, Edwin behind in sixth at 536, seventh is Cake Thomas, eighth Aero Racing Design, ninth is Dace, and 10th Dusty Lusky. And as far as the constructor standings, we've got Mercedes atop 1286 to McLaren's 1038, Alfa Romeo third with 996, Haas at 939, Williams 918, Red Bull at 860, Aston Martin 844, AlphaTauri 825, Ferrari at 650, and Alpine in 10th at 628. Let's look at the tires for tonight. This is the one I'm interested in. Looks as if this is pretty much exactly what I expected. Not a lot of creativity here. Most of the grid starting on the medium tires. They'll last you between 11 and 14 laps. So, give or take plus or minus one lap there, one or two. I mean, we might see the overcut and undercut come into play, but I don't think it's going to be as major as some other tracks. We've got Shariah on the hards, Aero Racing Design on the hards, Dusty on the hards, Scavney on the hards, and Scuba Steve on the softs. Mind you, the softs will only go 5 to 7 laps according to my data. The hards will last you between 14 and 20. So perhaps those that start on the hards now, and if no safety car comes in their way, they might be able to get a good run throughout the Grand Prix and end on the soft tires. It'll definitely be something to look at here. It's Edwin leading the grid background here. It's Dace in second, Edgar third, and Possible Bacon in fourth. He's had a brilliant qualifying session. Lancey fifth, Race Day in sixth. I have to say the main championship rival of Scornsey at this point in time, only down by 20 some odd points here. Ryan Rod's a little bit further behind at 572, but Scornsey right in there. Oh, goodness gracious! Impossible Bacon, no! And he told me not to say anything. He told me before the race I'd be fired if I said anything about him. I did. I said he was doing good, and then he spun it on the formation lap. My time here in Midwest has been amazing. I'd like to thank each and every one of you, and I wish you best on your future endeavors. But really, the big story, it's GSR Ryan Rods in 10th. He's got everyone and their mother in between himself and a win here. It'll be one hell of a ride, and hopefully he can stay out of trouble. As it looks like we're going to have the lights turning on here any second now. Yes, we do. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then eventually 5. And they are off. Now, who got the best start off the line? It looks like Edwin's actually done pretty okay. Some jumbling about it there at the back. It looks like Edgar's going to get around Dace, and actually by quite a car length as well. 3 abreast towards the back. Impossible Bacon was in the middle there for a second. No, actually, I was wrong. I believe that's actually the Alfa Romeo there of Race Day was in the middle just temporarily, as he's going to face Lancey here, side by side, going through this very tight and tricky first sector. That, I believe, is the Haas off towards the back, and it's Fireballer as well as Shariah Coleslaw. Dusty Lusky off, and I believe that is a virtual safety car in the very early goings. Remember, a lot of the corners on this track are definitely blind corners, to say the least, and that is absolutely a safety car on the first lap of the Grand Prix. It's Fireballer, who I would have to assume is perpendicular with the circuit at the moment, and is car's dead carcass, it has to be said. Dusty Lusky's missing a front wing. Aero Racing Design also missing a front wing, so we've got debris everywhere. As well as Shariah Coleslaw, a bit of his left front wing. Scuba Steve, I don't think he's got anything, so it looks as if, as long as you stayed out of the trouble, you've done okay. Edgar's up 1. Shelly the Turtle's up 1. It looks like everybody towards the back has jumbled around just because of the 4 cars that went off there. So very interesting stuff here. That, I have to say, and I find this unfortunate to say, has kind of ruined what was looking to be a very good first few laps of racing. Now it's all going to be neutralized behind the safety car, and the racing is never truly the same after the safety car. It's single file restarts, and that's kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say that's lame, but like, we're not going to get any sort of miraculous incidents happening there, as it looks like Scavney's on his way in. Did Scavney pick up wing damage? We'd have to assume that he did. And nope, he's just putting on a set of mediums here. Tactical pit stops there for Scavney. Doesn't look like he's needs any repairs. Dusty, however, does, as well as the Williams of Aero Racing Design, as well as the Haas of Shariah Coleslaw. So a tactical pit stop from Scavney. Everyone else behind needed repairs, and I'll step aside for now. So the safety car is going to be making its way in this lap. While we were away, Aero Racing Design pit again to get off what I believe were the hard tires and get onto the mediums. Dusty Lusky, unfortunately for him, picked up a drive-through penalty for speeding into the safety car and decided to call it a day. So it is GSR Edwin now who's going to be leading the field back to green. He's got Edgar in hot pursuit, Dace behind, Impossible Bacon and Lancey in his immediate surroundings as the safety car comes in. And now, I think we can finally get to some racing here. Going to be starting the 4th lap of the Grand Prix. Edwin takes off. Let's see who gets what coming down into turn 1. It looks like Scornsy and Race Day. This is a huge one. That's Race Day down to the inside. He's not going to be making a double overtake here, is he? Oh, and I think he wanted to, but I think he backed out of it before he could really commit to it, and perhaps that one wasn't going to end well, but he is now side by side with Scornsy. Championship implications at play as far as that one is concerned, and he's outdone the former champion. I say former, he might be the reigning champion. I'm actually not sure off the top of my head. You'd think I know stats, I actually don't. As it looks like Edwin has gotten away from Edgar. Dace is right up against Edgar here, heading through turn 13. Impossible Bacon not far behind. Lancey was able to stay with the pack so far. Here's Scornsy. Looks as if Race Day is starting to pull away from him just ever so slightly, but we'll have to see. I mean, again, this track is one that will breed mistakes from drivers, and we've seen that all throughout the qualifying session that you didn't get to see, and all throughout the race so far. As here's Ryan Rod. Now, he actually made quite a few mistakes in the qualifying session. We saw him slap the wall going through turn 4. We've seen him get some oversteer in a couple parts. I believe it was coming off of turn 13. And he really just couldn't find the lap he was looking for, but now he might find an overtake here as he's going to look around the outside of Say in the Ferrari. Nicely done there from one of the contenders. Looks like Edwin's amassed a 2.5 lead nearly. He's also gotten the fastest lap. Looks like Huxid's going to want to make a move here at Scornsy, perhaps. He's having a little peek at it. He's got the Mercedes in hot pursuit behind. Ooh, and I believe he's just kissed the wall there coming out of turn 3. Is that right? I think he has as well. That was a little bit too close for comfort, that has to be said. It looks like Ryan Rod's really breathing down the neck of Hoxid here. And oh, who's that? That's gone wide. That was Scornsy. Just a brief moment for him there. Nearly ended in distraught. And speaking of distraught, it looks as if we've got a car off towards the back. It is Scuba Steve, who is making his return to Division 1 here tonight. And I'm afraid it's not going all to plan for him. Here's Ryan Rods once again, within a couple of tenths here of Hoxid ahead of him. And then he's got a clear line of sight up to Scornsy and Race Day. Edwin already about 2 seconds ahead. Nearly, well, it's about a second and a half at this point. It was closer to 2 seconds not long ago. But it looks as if once DRS gets into play, we're going to see a fair bit of overtaking here. Here's Impossible Bacon starting to really reel in Dace up ahead. He's got teetering on the brink of 0.4 of a second at the moment, so it looks as if Dace is faster on the straight line than Bacon, but it looks like anytime Bacon can find his way out of a corner, it looks like he's doing quite well. Now that DRS is enabled, I believe that is another little incident there. That's Smith Pell, and it looks like both Alpines have had a lap to forget there as they've dropped back to P17 and P18 respectively. Now remember, they're behind the Haas team, the Ferrari team, by about 20 points here, just to get themselves out of last place, and I'm afraid that's not really going to do the job with laps like that, I'm afraid, as both Alpines into the pits now. Scuba Steve is going to call it a day, and I'm afraid he's had one to forget as well. Looks like Smith Pell, he's in. I hope we don't see both Alpines call it a day here. That would be very not good to say the least. Scuba Steve has left the session. Race day 2016 within 0.4 on Lancey ahead. Lancey's not going to be a driver that Race day can get around easily here. Lancey, once again, and I say this every time I cast him, really is one of the more up-and-coming, if not, he's already there, drivers on the grid. And you'll definitely be looking to see him even closer to a championship fight than he is now in the coming seasons for sure. But for now, he has to deal with the Alfa Romeo driver of Race Day, currently second in the championship, breathing down his neck as it looks ahead. Impossible Bacon wants a move. He's going to try it around the inside, actually, of Dace, and he has gotten the third spot. Is Impossible Bacon. Nicely done for him. And it looks like Race Day now. Does he get a good line out of turn 27, perhaps, to make the move around Lancey? He's going to look to the right-hand side. Well, I'd say that's the better line to have, especially through turn 2. The Haas dives to the outside. That's a little bit of contact there to the rear. It looks like, thankfully, nothing too ridiculous has amassed out of that battle, but that got hairy there for quite a minute. Lancey did very well defensively to keep himself out of trouble there. It looks like, however, Scornsy, at this moment in time, I don't want to say is on the back foot as he watches Race Day now try it around the outside of Lancey, going through the banked corner of turn 13. This might be an interesting to watch here. It looks like Scornsy, does he get a good enough exit to contest and get himself into, I'd say, overtaking range on these two once DRS comes into play? It doesn't quite look like he has. It looks like the two cars ahead just have better traction, and that's a big one, and Race Day is spun in front of Scornsy. Somehow, some way, that didn't result in a DNF, and now, my goodness me, Race Day, has he avoided massive damage? He has. Scornsy might have to start believing in Jesus Christ himself. He has missed out on a DNF there after really clobbering the side pod of the Alfa Romeo, which span in front of him. He remains in 6th position after all is said and done, but now that's Shariah Coleslaw, who I believe has just spun it going through turn 25, and he is right in the center of the track, and that there, my friends, is going to be our second safety car of the day. Edwin comes into the pits. Edgar does as well. This would, I assume, be the time where we see people make the stop for the hard tire. Shelley the Turtle has picked up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Scavney and Aero Racing Design will inherit the lead of the Grand Prix. Remember, Aero Racing Design on the hards. He's made 2 stops. Remember, I think he started on the hards, went to the mediums for a lap onto the safety car, and then went back to the hards, and that looks like exactly what he's done. 6-lap-old hards. Scornsy's just picked up 3 seconds for corner cutting under the safety car. That's a little bit of an odd one, to say the least there. So Aero Racing Design, this is what I'm concerned about with him. How far can he get on this set of hards that he has, albeit a lot of it's been under safety car, so he might be okay. I think if Aero Racing Design conserves, he might be able to make the end on this set. It'll be very difficult to say the least, but at the moment Scavney has the lead. Aero Racing Design second and Edgar in third. And as our second safety car of the day comes out on track, I'll start to end my own break early. However, Scornsy and Race Day have both just come into the pits. Race Day has a fresh set of mediums. Both of them made wing changes as well. Scornsy, however, the game says on 7-lap-old medium tires. This, I have to say, quite interesting. Is that a game glitch, or is that genuinely how old his tires are? I'm going to have to point to the first option. No, the second option, rather, because that seems like, and I hate to say it, that seems like kind of a mistake. I don't see why you'd go on to mediums. Perhaps he had to make the wing change. I'm not quite sure. I only really picked up on the end of the exchange, but that moves Scornsy and Race Day down to P15 and P16, respectively there, as it looks like we're going to get the safety car in this lap, hopefully. I say hopefully, nothing's definite in this wild world of ours, and yes, the safety car does come in this lap. Scavney out front, Aero Racing Design second on a set of hard tires. He's been on for 7 laps, although will he be able to take them to the end, considering a lot of this race has been under safety car? That's going to be a huge question mark for this Williams driver, who, I hate to say it, is in need of some points here. I say in need of some points. He's actually P8 at the moment, so he couldn't need that much, could he? I mean, it's very, very close quarters in between P8 and P15 for that matter. But anyways, green flag racing here. Let's see who is able to take advantage of what. Here's GSR Edwin hunting down GSR Edgar. He's going to try it around the outside. Really late braking there as the Mercedes is going to have the bottom line advantage going through turn 2. Yes, he does. That was a brilliant move from Edwin. And then he slides, and I think he's hit the wall there. Has he any wing damage? Somehow he's not hit the wall hard enough to accumulate any. But that was quite the slide and slap after that one, and it looks like Mitch Burns has had a little bit of a spin there coming out of turn 4. Thankfully, no DNF there, so we can continue on racing. Impossible Bacon hunting down GSR Edgar ahead. He's got Dace behind, Lancey behind as well. I believe that Smith Pell has just had a little bit of a slide there. That's coming out of turn 9. Is he able to get the car going? It looks like he has. Does he have wing damage? The answer is no. Back up to the top, Scavney has the lead. Aero Racing Design not far behind whatsoever for the lead of the Grand Prix. Less than 3/10 of a second at the moment. How long does it stay that way? Which one makes the mistake first? That's going to be the question on everyone's mind. Can Aero Racing Design keep these tires to the end? He'll have to play conservatively for the rest of the race, and conservative he's not being, as he's trying it around the outside here for the lead of the Grand Prix, and that's exactly what he's done. I apologize, I've had the telemetry off this entire race so far, but he's made that move happen, and nicely done as well. He will lead the 10th lap of the Grand Prix. Scavney, I don't think is done quite yet. Impossible Bacon having a little peek down to the inside of Edgar. It looks like Shelley the Turtle and Say are going to be side by side in turn 1. That one was close quarters there for sure. Shelley's going to slide up the track. Say's going to tuck back down inside. And I'm afraid he did not get the acceleration out of turn 2 to be able to make that overtake happen. Although, I will say they made it cleanly enough to where they don't need to worry about it too much. Lancey starting to get closer to Dace. But here's Edwin. He'll have the pace advantage over Scavney, that part's for sure. Scavney, 9-lap-old medium tires. They're well more than halfway through their lifespan already. So it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. At the moment, though, Scavney is holding good enough pace to keep the Mercedes behind. Here's Hoxid looking to make a move on Say through DRS here. If they do have it, I don't remember if it's been activated yet. I'm going to say that it has not. Really side-by-side, wheel-to-wheel contact there was, and somehow Hoxid got through that one, despite the contact, despite the wheel banging there, which I don't think was to the fault of either driver. Perhaps Say was just trying to be defensive, and Hoxid had the position for an overtake that he didn't want to give up. That sort of thing does happen, that's for sure. It looks like Edgar starting to kind of reel in Edwin ahead. The pace differential is very, very even between these two drivers. I will say, Bacon's starting to get ever so closer to that McLaren ahead. Here's Hoxid, who I believe has just gotten around Shelley the Turtle nicely there. He moves himself up to 8th. Let's look at who's done what. Aero Racing Design and obviously Scavney up 14 and 16 respectively. The biggest mover in the positive direction is Kate Thomas, who's up 5. Only 4 drivers on the grid have moved in the positive direction so far this Grand Prix. It's Aero Racing Design Scavney, who, it has to be said, I think is going to be a temporary move, and then eventually Shelley the Turtle, as well as Kate Thomas, as I believe Kate Thomas just got around Say there before getting into turn 13. I wonder if Say perhaps made a mistake coming out of turn 12. We've seen a fair bit of mistakerage happening there. That's a brand new word I just invented. Anyways, here's Lancey, 0.5 of a second away. He'll have DRS, but every car ahead of him has DRS, and I'm afraid this is, once again, kind of the downside of this new generation of cars, is if people have DRS in front of you, you're not really going to get that much of an advantage just being in the slipstream. But here's Impossible Bacon looking for an advantage himself to get past GSR Edgar, perhaps into 27. Doesn't make it happen, although if he gets a good enough exit, he'll have another spurt of DRS here down the pit straight. Let's see what he's able to do. Battery being used temporarily, albeit. Looks like behind Lancey's going to get around Dace rather easily there, well before the corner. Possible Bacon right up against the gearbox of Edgar there. Nothing to be had yet. Everybody on the grid currently within the top 8, within DRS range of each other. Brilliant stuff there. Aero Racing Design at the moment, has to be said, is doing quite well. He's got 0.5 of a second on Scavney, and I think Scavney's tires are going to go away before Aero Racing Designs does. That was weird English. Here's GSR Edwin, who has to be said is kind of being a little stagnant. No, an Aero Racing Design! Oh, and I just had to curse him, didn't I? Goodness gracious, all I had to do was keep my mouth shut, and I'm afraid the Williams driver has had the spin coming out of turn 13, albeit he's not hit anything, as now Edwin has taken the lead from Scavney, and before DRS as well. That must have been a hell of a move, but we were checked in with Aero Racing Design. Very nicely done from Edwin, who reclaims the lead of the Grand Prix. I am very fortunate that nobody else got damaged there after Aero's spin out of 13, as he was right in the middle of the circuit as well. Here's Bacon down to the inside of Edgar through 27. If he pulls this one off, that's going to be brilliant. He'll have DRS as well. He'll also have the slipstream of Scavney. Edgar is going to power around the outside of him somehow. I tell you what, the speed of that McLaren overpowering the Red Bull there, has to be said. That was right good. He had the slipstream and everything there, did Bacon, and I'm afraid he wasn't able to make the move happen. Ryan Rods has just set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He's got Shelley the Turtle in his sights. This is, it has to be said, the rebound day that GSR kind of needed here to get himself back into this championship fight. Hopefully, he'll be able to get an even better result. He still has 10-ish laps to go, so perhaps he'll be able to make something happen. But eyes right now on Impossible Bacon on the precipice of a podium here. He's got Edgar in his sights, and again, I really think it's going to be just whatever driver makes the least amount of mistakes is going to end up having the better result. And speaking of mistakes, a driver that's not made too many of them is Lancey, and he's currently 0.3 of a second behind the Red Bulls, and Cosmos Bacon looking to get that 4th spot. Mid-water break, and that is a huge incident there. And that, my friends, is going to be our 3rd safety car of the day as the AlphaTauri of Mitch Burns loses it coming out of, I believe that's turn 17, yeah. Ay, and that has really changed the complexity of this Grand Prix. Edwin wanted to come in. Scavney will. Naturally, he'll need to. Bacon stays out. Lancey stays out. Everybody minus Scavney, Hoxid, Shelley, Cake, Race Day, and Say stay out. And I think Aero Racing Design might come in as well. So it looks like it really is just the bottom half of the grid will be coming in perhaps to put on some mediums. Let's see what decision they make. And it looks like mediums is going to be the favorite tire here. Very unfortunate for Mitch Burns there, but to his credit, he has just opened up a can of what the hell do we do now on this Division 1 grid. Which, it has to be said, I do enjoy a good can of that every once in a while, but Aero Racing Design's put on the softs. Can he make them last 10 laps? I tell you what, that might not be a bad idea, considering that the softs will last 7 laps roughly. Under safety car, you could stretch it to 10. But as we have it here, Edwin back to the lead of the Grand Prix. Edgar up to 2nd. Bacon to 3rd. Lancey to 4th. Dace down to 5th. The most stops today being held by Race Day with 3. As well as Scornsy, Aero Racing Design, and Smith Pell all with 3. And I think, man, I don't know, but Scornsy has very much had a championship day to forget here. Leading me to believe that he doesn't quite like this circuit as much, because the last couple of visits to this track, I remember him having difficult races, so it'll be very interesting to see Ryan Rods, in case I didn't say already, firmly in this championship once again. It really will be a 3-way fight for this title between Ryan Rods and Scornsy, perennial favorites, and Race Day 2016, the newcomer to Division 1, who, if you had talked to him coming out of Division 2, he didn't really have that high of hopes. He pretty much said, I'm just happy to be here and I hope I don't get relegated back. And I tell you what, he's passed that test with flying colors. I'm going to step aside just for this, what I assume is going to be the last lap under the safety car. So it looks like we're going to have the safety car in this lap. I think I've missed the message on top of my screen. I'm a little bit stupid. Yet finally, it decides to come in. That was quite a late call there, to say the least. But anyways, Edwin in the lead currently. Edgar not far behind. Bacon right there as well. Look at the line he's trying to get the jump on the 2 cars ahead. Who will be caught sleeping? Who will give themselves the win here? And it looks as if the 2 cars ahead of Bacon have actually gotten away quite well, as we have 9 laps of racing left to go. Lancey had a little bit of a weave there for a second. It's going to be 3 wide between those 3 into the first corner. It's Race Day down to the inside. It was Cake Thomas there, and it looks like Shelly the Turtle's gone round. I believe, no, someone... I couldn't quite tell. I don't even know what's just happened, to be honest. We were 3 wide into the first corner. Somebody got shoved off track. Somebody was sideways temporarily. And, well, whoever it was, well, I guess we'll never know now. Ryan Rods trying to get himself into the top 5 here. A day that I don't want to necessarily say he'd like to forget, but a day that he'll definitely appreciate, moving up 5 spots in the positive direction if he's able to get around the Aston Martin ahead of him. I tell you what, Crash and Jacko missed a thriller here tonight, that part's for sure. Scavney, however, trying to hunt down Ryan Rods ahead. We just look and see who's on what tire. Scavney was one of the first drivers to come in under the safety car. Remember, only really the second half of the field boxed. Scavney, 2-lap old mediums. Cake, 2-lap old mediums. Race Day came in for hards. Say came in for mediums. Hoxid for mediums. Shelley for mediums. Aero Racing Design for soft, Scornsy on hards, who I believe... What's happened there? Oh, that there is a spin for Shelly the Turtle, as Aero Racing Design gets on past, thankfully. That wasn't a huge spin, and he was able to get the car back into gear rather quickly. Here's Hoxid trying to look around the Ferrari here. Is he going to have the inside line into the second corner? You bet he will, and I think he's going to have that position. No, he actually won't, as in fact, well, he finally gets it. It was right side by side there for a hot minute. He does finally get the overtake done. That was a good move there from Hoxid. As Ryan Rods now... I want to say has Scavney in pursuit, but that's not really the case. Scavney, at the moment, doesn't seem to be pressuring him too hard here. Really. In fact, Dace is more pressuring Lancey up ahead. Ryan Rod's getting closer. He'll probably... he'll absolutely have DRS when it gets back into play. It looks like Bacon's within 6/10 on Edgar. But again, the gap isn't really getting any smaller. Well, I say that, it is now. Now within 0.3 of a second. Here's Dace looking forward on Lancey, trying to get to the 4th spot. Very close battles here. It looks like Aero Racing Design and Say side by side there for a minute. ARD was able to get around the Ferrari. Oh, and this is an interesting one here. 4-car battle for the spot. Dace getting around Lancey. Ryan Rod's looking around the outside of the Haas as well. Scavney just watching it all happen. Perhaps if someone makes a mistake, he can jump in and get a spot. No, that's not the case. Wheel banging there between the Haas and the Mercedes. And I'm afraid for now, everything has pretty much stayed the same. It's Ryan Rods and Lancey side by side here, heading into the first corner. Who has the advantage? It looks like it's going to be Ryan Rods. He's got the inside line going through the second corner. That's what you want to have on this circuit, but they're still side by side. And even still, and now finally Lancey tucks in behind. Beautiful battles here. Man, that one was intense, as Scavney now within 0.2 of Lancey ahead. Ryan Rods, as I don't want to say done the impossible, but considering the amount of trouble that's been had on this circuit today, he's done the impossible and gotten himself into the top 5. It's been brilliant stuff, as here's Scavney down to the inside of Lancey. He'll get himself up to 6th. I would assume the mediums are going to be right good tires at this moment in time. Kate Thomas trying to find a way to the Haas here. He's on the fresh mediums as well. Side by side between Race Day and Hoxid, making their way through 17. Now that's a huge collision, and I'm afraid both of them might lose spots here. Oh no, but it does cause Aero Racing Design and 2 cars behind him to get involved. 3-car, 4-car pile up here. Thankfully, nobody DNF'd, but my goodness, that was a conundrum to say the least. As Hoxid and Race Day hit tires, both of them had to go off the circuit. They came back on. Aero Racing Design, Shelly the Turtle got caught up in it, and Scornsy did as well. There's a piece of front wing somewhere there, and speaking of piece of front wing, Shelly the Turtle now has multiple of them scattered on the circuit, albeit it's off the racing line. Might not need to be a virtual safety car, hopefully. As Edwin takes the 20th lap of the Grand Prix here. He's got a 2.5 lead over Edgar, who is trying to defend a Bacon behind. But here's Ryan Rods looking for a move on Dace. Can he perhaps find it? Not yet. It looks like Aero Racing Design on his way into the pits. Yeah, that's... I think he definitely got caught up in that skirmish. 0.3 of a second between Ryan Rods and Dace. DRS won't be in play until they get through turn 7, 16, and 17. It looks like Aero Racing Design has had a choice few words there for race day, as it looks like Hoxid and Kate Thomas side by side through 13. Hoxid's going to get the better acceleration on the outside of the corner. Kate Thomas drops to 9th, and now Hoxid has the Haas of Lancey in his sights. I will say the mediums haven't made all too much of a difference here. That's the surprising thing. We really thought that we were going to see the cars in the medium tires charged to the front. Well, that's not been the case whatsoever. But now looking for the move for second place is Impossible Bacon, as Hoxid and Lancey battling it out there. Hoxid was able to get around the Haas. DRS will be in play here for the Red Bull. He's got the McLaren in his sights. He's also got the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He's going to switch to the outside, and therefore he'll have the inside through turn 2 and the line advantage. And does he have better acceleration to pull away from the McLaren? Not quite yet. Side by side through 4. That one's going to end well. And I think Edgar realized that and decided to tuck it back in line. And Impossible Bacon moves his way into second. Dace has just picked up 3 seconds for multiple warnings. Not ideal for him, as he'll lose at least a couple spots there. Not good as Race Day picks up the same penalty. 3 seconds for multiple warnings. Him and Scornsy are on level pegging as far as penalties now. But they will be losing a fair few spots there, as it looks like Say's just managed to get around Smith Pell. It looked for a minute Smith was missing some front wing. That's not the case. Scavney was within the slipstream of Ryan Rod's ahead. Scavney's done well to keep himself in it, but he's not necessarily challenged the Mercedes all that much. He's done enough to be there and be in position, but he's not really decided to make any moves just yet. And I think, is he perhaps just going to wait it out to the end to see what he can get at the end of the Grand Prix? It's a dangerous game to play, but one I think he probably intends on doing. Here's Kate Thomas getting around Lancey, and unfortunately for Lancey, continuing to fall down the order to those on medium tires ahead of him. He was about 6th coming in with the safety car, and he's now down to 9th. As it looks like Ryan Rod's trying to get around Dace. Dace is going to swoop down to the inside. Ryan Rod's going to have the outside line and the better acceleration, and now the 4th position. Beautiful move there from Ryan Rod's, and he continues to have a great day. A day where the odds were really up against him, and he's done very well to get himself back in a position. But now it seems Impossible Bacon falling off the back of Edwin. In fact, I don't really think he's been able to catch up to him at all. I will say now it looks as if he'll be outside of DRS range on Edgar, which is good news for him, especially with not a lot of time left here in the Grand Prix. That's brilliant for the Red Bull, as long as he can keep it there. Knock on wood. I think he'll be able to perhaps reel in second place here. Dace 0.4 of a second behind on Ryan Rod's. Can he perhaps make it even more interesting than the Mercedes has already had throughout the day? Scavney, again, just doesn't seem to be able to challenge the two ahead of him. Hoxton, however, might have a move here at Scavney once he's able. DRS in play for the Williams. He's got the AlphaTauri in his sights ahead. Dace within 0.2 on Ryan Rod's ahead. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to find a line to make the move. Oh, I think Dace has actually just hit the wall there coming out of turn 27. I think he's done that as well. It looked like somebody had gotten right close, and it was that bright green machine there. Well, I say bright green, the green machine there of Dace, as it looks like Shelly the Turtle has perhaps had a little bit of an incident coming out of whatever corner that was, turn 10. Oxford within 0.4 on Scavney here. Scavney getting outside track limits there. Shirley picked up a warning for that. Tell you what, track penalties was another thing that was really going to come into play here, I'm sure, in more like Division 3 and 4. This is actually, it has to be said, in my opinion, an unusual amount of time penalties here for Division 1. It has to be said, you don't see them nearly as often as you would as, say, Division 3, Division 4, even Division 2 for that matter. They're right more common than this. It speaks to the testament of how accurate, or precise rather, is probably the better word. Precise and the talent of the Division 1 grid. Remember, all throughout the top, for the majority of the qualifying session, the top 14 cars were within a second of each other. It was a brilliant, grand old time. As it looks like we're going to get 2 laps to go of racing. GSR Edwin, as all he's had in front of him is clear track, and it looks like it's going to stay that way unless some sort of heinous mistake happens. And speaking of mistake, that looks like an incident back there. It's Smith Pell, thankfully. The track map was kind of playing some tricks on me there, as it is quite close together. It looked like it was a huge pile-up. In fact, it was just a solo car spin. You can't blame me for that one. On the track map, those dots are right close together. But anyways, Edgar within 0.7 of Impossible Bacon ahead, once again into DRS range, but certainly not close enough to make something happen unless he can perhaps wait for Bacon to make a mistake, which is certainly a possibility, as this track will definitely do that to you for sure. Hoxid trying to find something on Scavney. Scavney still not really able to challenge Dace, and Ryan Rod's ahead. As for race day in Scornsey, definitely a day to put behind them in this championship battle. It's a day they'll absolutely need to put behind them as well. As next week we head to Spa in Belgium. It's been a very difficult stretch of races, as it looks like Edgar getting around Impossible Bacon there with the DRS. We're going to be coming up to the final lap of the Grand Prix here. I don't think, as far as Bacon is concerned, he needs to do much here. He's got the podium. I think I'd be happy with that, but no, he does look like he is going to challenge Edgar. He's going to try it around the outside, and have it he does. So does Bacon do enough of a defensive job to keep the spot? And meanwhile, here's Dace trying to put the move on Ryan Rods, but actually Scavney's now down to his inside, and finally Scavney decided to become aggressive, and he's got that spot, and Hoxid in pursuit as well. No! And that's a spin there, 2 cars off. It's Hoxid and it's Dace. And Kate Thomas is going to swoop through and take 6th. In a great battle there, ended in pain to say the least, as it looks like, is that a Aston Martin off ahead? It's Shelley the Turtle getting out of the way. Impossible Bacon has retaken 2nd place. It looks like Lancey's picked up 5 seconds for ignoring the yellow flag. Quite an odd penalty to pick up there. Scavney into the top 5. Dace and Hoxid made unfortunate contact there. They just wanted to go side by side. Neither of them were willing to give up the position. And speaking of giving up positions, we might have to see Bacon do some incredible defensive work here. Edwin is definitely going to have this win. Edgar's going to try it around the outside. He's got the battery being used as well. Bacon's going to have to strike back with DRS once he gets it down the pit straight. Will he have enough time? I don't think he will, but it's GSR Edwin coming to the line now to become the 5th different winner this season in Division 1. It was a brilliant day for him, and he rightfully deserved this win. 2nd place will belong to Edgar. 3rd, Impossible Bacon. 4th, GSR Ryan Rods. Brilliant effort from him from starting in 10th. Scavney behind in 5th. Kate Thomas 6th. Nicely done for the Red Bull team. It's a day that they'll hold on to for a little bit now, and hopefully they can piece together some momentum. But GSR Edwin, a wonderful day, and he'll even more so do his best to extend the lead for Mercedes at the top. They've definitely had the better day than McLaren, and that one's going to be huge getting into the business end of this season. So after it's all said and done here in Saudi Arabia, it's GSR Edwin taking the win from pole for Mercedes. In 2nd, it's GSR Edgar. 3rd is Impossible Bacon, one of the better days for Red Bull this season. 4th is GSR Ryan Rods. 5th, Scavney. 6th, Kate Thomas. 7th is Hoxid. 8th, Lancey. 9th is Race Day. 10th, Scornsey. 11th, Dace. 12th is Say. 13th, Aero Racing Design. 14th is Smith Pell. Shelley the Turtle 15th, and unfortunately for Mitch Burns, Shariah, Scuba Steve, Dusty, and Fireballer, they did not finish the Grand Prix. And if you thought that one was a riot, well, we go to everyone's favorite Spa-Francorchamps next week for round number, God, what is this? I don't even know. Well, we go to Spa next week. Sure to be an interesting one. Hotspot, been a pleasure. We will see you next time.